Okay, so I got this question about the G Wagon because I was, been spending some time to really talking about mileage since we just had the mileage increase starting July 1st through December 31st, 2021. Okay. And so I got the question about the whole G Wagon thing because we've seen it on social media. You've seen it, it's very exciting. And it's not just a G Wagon, any expensive vehicle. Can I really buy this G Wagon and deduct it from my taxes on my business? Okay, so the short answer is yes, but then there's the rest of the story. So it's not necessarily can you, but more like should you? Okay, let's talk about it. All right, so how can you get this vehicle and write it off on your taxes? Well, right now, because of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, we have the bonus depreciation. So business vehicles over 6,000 pounds they are eligible for 100% bonus depreciation, which means you can write off the entire cost of the vehicle. Now, I looked up because this ain't really what I do as far as vehicles go, but I looked up the cheapest G Wagon. The cheapest G Wagon, and I actually Googled that. The cheapest G Wagon is $131,000. Now, to put this into perspective, and just a general rule of thumb, $1,000 in expenses will be equal to about $300 in tax savings. Okay, so rough, that's a good rule of thumb. So if you're talking about spending $131,000 on a vehicle, for the tax benefit, you're really saving about $40,000. And so first, with my math sense, I asked myself, does it make sense to spend $131,000 just to save $40,000 in taxes? It really makes more sense just to pay the 40 grand in taxes. I'm just saying, because the math ain't mathing. Now, I also did a little calculation here. So assuming that you have an interest rate, a car loan interest rate of 10.43%. That was what was in the calculator. Okay, whatever, right? Financed over 72 months, which is 6 years, you're looking at $2,600 a month in a car payment. Okay? Now, when I think about that $2,600, I then think to myself, that's equal to somebody's mortgage. Okay. Like, really? So as things go, like, this really ain't what I do, but whatever. Okay, call me cheap, call me what you will, but $2,600 on a car payment when I know that is mortgage money, that gives me heartburn. I just can't do that. But now let's talk about the rest of the story. So the first thing is, when the IRS looks at how business equipment and such, and especially when it comes to vehicles, the first thing they look at is ordinary and necessary business expense. Is your G Wagon really an ordinary and necessary business expense? So what the IRS does, let's say you are a record producer. Why not? But let's say you're a record producer and you go get this G Wagon. So what they do is they look at all the other record producers out there. Do these people have G Wagons? Well, they might. Okay. So that might be the ordinary part. If, you're a record producer and you're getting a G Wagon and they go find 15,000 other record producers and they got G Wagons, that might be in the ordinary. But is it really necessary? Do you really need a G Wagon to conduct your record producing business? I don't know, because that ain't what I do, right? Now, but what happens is that you see on social media, because it's always these social media influencers who have zero responsibility to their audiences when they do these things, right? And said, oh, you can go get this, like I said, insert the expensive car. But lately it's been the G Wagon. You could go get this G Wagon and deduct it on the taxes. And then they tell you to run this play. Like this is a freaking football game. That drives me insane, okay? So they tell you, go get you a LLC, Okay, you got to get you a LLC because you're going to get this in your business name. And then they tell you to go get you some business credit. They have not told you that you should have a profitable business that can actually afford said G Wagon. Just go get you a business, get you some business credit, and then go get you this G Wagon. Okay, now again, that's a $131,000 vehicle, and we're talking about $2,600 that you're going to pay for it. So let's just say you get that and you write all that off. Okay, then how are you going to pay for it? You still got to pay for it. You've deducted on your taxes, so you got that one-time benefit, but you still got to pay the car payment, because if you've got this business that's making no money, you have no money to go buy a G Wagon. So you still got to pay this car payment. You still got to pay these maintenance fees, and that's not cheap either. What sense does that make? I was watching a video, and I also saw a post where a young lady was saying that her client actually repossesses cars. And do you know the number one car her client's been repossessing? G Wagons. Why? Because people are not making these car payments. People are going out here getting these vehicles they normally cannot afford because some guru told them, oh, you can just go get it on your business credit and write it off on your taxes, and boom, you got a G Wagon, not thinking about the second and third effects of having a vehicle that you really can't afford, just so you can look rich but not have a viable business that can support paying for a G Wagon. Now listen, if you've got a business out here that, hey, you can go write this check, then more power to you. Okay, but you have people out here that have these fledgling businesses, no businesses at all, haven't made the first dime going out here building business credit just so they can buy these expensive cars. I'll give you another example. I had a business owner call me for a consultation, and this person has been in business for about 4 years. And they're like, I really need to, to get my stuff together so I can buy this expensive vehicle. I think it was a Porsche something or other, one of the Porsche SUVs. Okay. And so as I asked more about the business, I asked about bookkeeping. What are you doing for bookkeeping? Oh, well, I don't have bookkeeping. And I simply asked, and how do you know that you can afford to buy this Porsche SUV? How do you know? Oh, well, I can just go make the money. And I said, listen, what you need to do is first you need to get your books in order, okay? You need to get your books in order. You need to file your taxes because taxes hadn't even filed, right? Get your books in order, file your taxes, then determine whether or not you can actually afford this vehicle. Now, bookkeeping hadn't been done in a year. Okay, we're still talking about 2021 taxes. So the 2021 bookkeeping has not been done. And so and she was asking me like, well, how much do you think bookkeeping will cost? Like on average for a year, you're talking about $5,000 to $6,000, depending on how many transactions you have. I haven't seen anything of these ladies' numbers or transactions, but I'm like, on average, you're going to spend about $5,000 to $6,000 for a year's worth of bookkeeping. Her response was, I can't afford that. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if you can't afford the $5,000 it's going to take for you to clean up your books and understand the financial picture of your business, how does it make sense that you're going to get this together to go buy this Porsche SUV? Like, make it make sense. See, what we want to do is have these badges of wealth, when really what you're doing is these badges of debt. Okay? And so we have to work on having profitable businesses. If you've got a profitable business, that's the first step. And then if you have the money, like I said, if you're profiting multi-millions of dollars, then that $131,000 for a cheap G Wagon or a cheap Porsche SUV, that's a drop in the bucket to you. But we got people out here that haven't made their first dollar going out and buying these vehicles because somebody said they could do it. But they never stop to think if they should. I sound like that dude on Jurassic Park in that first one. He said, y'all, you never stop to think of if you should do it. And I'm telling you that that's what you need to think about. Just because you can do something doesn't mean it's a good idea. This is one of those things that, yeah, you can do it, but it may not be a good idea for you. If you have a business and you don't have structured bookkeeping in place, you don't have your tax return filings done, you have zero business buying anything. I don't care if it's a Yugo, because you do not have the data necessary to determine what you can actually pay for. And listen, if you come to me, I'm going to give you the common sense stuff. Okay, I'm not out here trying to tell you how to loop it, swoop it, and all this other stuff, run plays. Listen, business is a wonderful thing. Okay, but one of the things is a game. So I'm not going to be telling you how to run no plays and for you to get something that you really should not have. And people want to talk about, well, I think I deserve this. You deserve what you can afford. And instead of you running out here listening to what one of these gurus had to say that have no credentials and no responsibility to you at all, instead of you doing that, take the time to run a profitable business. Save up your money. That's a concept. I know, but it's not sexy. It's not as sexy as going out and getting your LLC and building your business credit and all that. Just stop. Okay? Like literally just stop. So before you do any of that other stuff, you need to make sure your books are in order. You need to make sure your taxes are filed. Those are two basic things as a business owner, because those are the things that can put you out of business. Your books are going to tell you about the financial health of your business, not just your profit and loss statement, but also your balance sheet. Because see, when you go and buy one of these $131,000 vehicles, that's going to go on your balance sheet. So you got this car loan for $131,000. Oh, here's the other tidbit you need to know. So when you get one of these vehicles and you take this bonus depreciation, it has a useful life. So for vehicles, it's usually 5 years. Okay. So I had one person say to me, well, I'll just get the tax write-off, and then I'll just turn around and sell it. So if you have a piece of equipment, whether it's a vehicle, and you take bonus depreciation, if you then take it out of service, whether you sell it or whatever, you have to pay taxes on that gain. So then if you turn around and sell that $131,000 vehicle for another $131,000, you're going to turn right around and pay them taxes right back that you saved the year prior. So that's the rest of the story. These are the things that the gurus and the influencers are out. They're not telling you the rest of the story because they don't know the rest of the story. And see, when you're doing your homework with these folks, you really need to ask the questions. Oh, you see them in the videos, stepping off the jet and, in the mansions and all that stuff. Start asking to see some titles. Start asking to see some deeds and whatnot, because a lot of times you're excited about a rented lifestyle. Somebody go out here on Turo and rent a G Wagon. They sit up here to making all these videos and whatnot, and you thinking they really done did this, and all they did was rent something, put up a video, and here you buying all their stuff, making them rich, and you're going broke doing some foolishness you have no business doing. Okay, so before you go out and buy whatever, whether it's a G Wagon, whether it's a Porsche, I don't care if it's a pencil, you need to make sure that, to look at your books to make sure if you should do it, if you can afford to do it. And then if you can't, the simple answer is don't. Okay, so I hope that helps you out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Bye.